Charity begins at home. That saying has got me wondering if perhaps Stella NWADIGO, the teacher caught on camera physically assaulting a 3-year-old, was treated as such in her younger days, or if she's just a bitter and frustrated Nigerian venting anger on the child. A viral video shows NWADIGO repeatedly slapping ABAYOMI, the 3-year-old, over his attempt at writing the number 6. A 3-year-old. Hi, welcome to Let's Talk About It. For this episode, we'll be linking this abuse to the African mentality of discipline.
Write 6 for me. Write 6 for me.
To spice up this conversation, I have a one-time teacher with me here, Miss Sasha. Hi, Miss Sasha.
Hi, Abby.
Yes, thank you for coming. Welcome.
It's nice having me here.
So, beating has always been a culture in Africa. You know, our generation, we all grew up to being flogged. Anything you do, you know that you have messed up, you're going to be flogged about. But I feel like the generation is now changing, and there are better ways for me, I feel, to train a child than to physically abuse a child. So what do you think about that?
Well, I know this, just like the topic you actually raised up today about the teacher who flogged the 3-year-old boy for not being able to write the number 6.
She actually didn't flog him. She slapped him 3 times. It was not a beautiful scene, promise you.
Well, on that, she actually did a very, very wrong thing, because the Bible says you should spare the rod and spoil the child. I'm sure you understand that scripture very well. So you're saying you don't want to flog a child because you feel you are in the Generation Z, the Gen Z, right?
Yes.
Generation, then you are actually mistaken. Where I'm going to flog the teacher is the part where she used her bare hand in flogging, in actually slapping the child. But if she had actually, gone out, get her cane and maybe probably beat the child, that is quite understandable. But saying she's wrong, having to flog or beat the child, I don't really see it as a big deal.
Okay, but one thing I would want you to understand is that an impact on, growing up, right? One impact we've had from beating is that it has caused a lot of mental, we've had mental issues some of us are trying to recover from. You see, there's a thing that verbal abuse and physical abuse does to one person. See, we can look at self-esteem. It can really cut down your self-esteem, because growing up, I remember there are some things that I would want to tell my parents, you understand, but the first thing that comes to my mind is that they are going to beat you. You understand?
Yeah.
And I just keep quiet, you understand? There are some things you're even trying to seek for advice from your parents, and you feel like, if I tell my mom these things, she's going to be like, for example, now being a teenage child, I won't tell her mom that I have a boyfriend now. You'll be thinking, this today, they're going to beat me. So I feel like there are actually better ways you can actually train a child without having to beat a child. Because what will you do now with the aftermath? How do we solve the aftermath? Now, look at this poor boy, ABAYOMI now. He'll grow up to be scared, you understand? So I feel like there are other ways a child can be punished, or how do you see it?
From
your experience as being a teacher.
Yeah, in addition to what you just said, the truth is, while we were growing then, beating was a way of, fixing you. Our parents beat us because they feel that's the fastest way to correct us. So that's why earlier when I made a point, I quoted the Bible saying that. But not that because you want to actually correct the child, then you should kill the child. Because why I'm saying that is, like I am right now, I can tell you that there are a lot of things that beating actually did to me, right, that has actually fixed me in that shaped me in the position where I am today. Okay. So I understand that. I think they said this generation, their IQ is not like that of ours then when we were growing. Smartphones and a whole lot, That has actually shaped shaped the world.
Yeah.
I can use that word.
Okay.
Like diaspora, you can see that if a child actually does wrong, you know, and the parents spanks the child, the next thing they are calling 911 on you, right? So, but it's because we said it's an African culture thing. So it's something that we were born into,
Okay.
right?
Don't you think that culture can change?
Well,
we keep doing it.
We keep saying culture. Yes, like I said earlier, culture. When something becomes too much, it becomes a very big issue, actually. So, but saying, because I think the bone of contention right now is having to say that the teacher actually spanked the child. Like I said earlier, spanking the child is not a problem for me. It's the method at which she used.
So, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. For me, on my own point of view, and maybe other people's point of view, I feel like beating a child is a poor man's mentality, because even here in Africa, here in Nigeria, let me use Nigeria, there are schools, there are private schools that do not punish children, that do not beat children. It's not allowed. Any teacher caught doing that is going to like be either suspended or even expelled as a teacher, you get. And then like other like private schools have punishments like naughty corners. And I've actually seen the impact naughty corners have actually done to kids. Do you know it makes a child very restless when you put a child in one spot for 5 minutes? Tell the child to face the wall and don't move. Do you know what it means to tell a child to stand in one place and don't move? I feel like it has more impact. And then there are other punishments too, like detention. Like in high schools, private high schools, they have detention. And what do you do in detention? You go sit down in the classroom after school and you have to do your homework or read. Don't you think there are other forms of punishment that can be given to a child instead of beating that child?
Well, I'm going to bring my experience, you know, into play.
Yeah.
For this question you just asked. I've been, just like the introduction stated, I've been a one-time teacher before. And having to train children or teach children is, in fact, not just an easy job. Right? So I remember having this, two students. Okay, sorry, two pupils. Right? One was in primary 1 and the other in primary 3.
Okay.
Right? And the one in primary 1 was a girl child, and the one in primary 3 was a boy child. So you wouldn't believe that at primary 3 he couldn't spell his name.
Okay.
He couldn't spell his name, and you keep repeating things often and often. You keep repeating, but they don't grab. Do you understand? They don't grab. So when I started using my cane, you know, it's just like a testimony right now to you. Child in primary 3, the mom, after some years back, when she met me, she actually appreciated me a lot, because she was like, wow, that each time she sees me, she remembers her child. Now the boy can spell his name, because as at then, primary 3, he can't spell his name.
Okay. So you're trying to say that the rod is actually like a reminder.
Yes.
Ginger.
It's a ginger. It opens up your brain, because you can't continue to constantly use just words. Constantly you keep saying or you keep giving punishment. There are limits to punishment, and so there are limits to beating. Right? So that is why I initially started by saying the method at which, or the means at which she used in beating the child is wrong. I wouldn't, in fact, even me, if I happen to get married tomorrow and I happen to hear that my child was being spanked by a teacher using the bare hand, I myself will not appreciate that. So like I said, there's limits. So if you want to really flog a child, or you really want to punish a child, you should use the right means.
Okay. So lastly, before we round off, what are the criteria as a teacher, as a one-time teacher? What are the criteria you're going to advise school bodies and school organizations and bodies to use when they are choosing teachers? Because I feel like being a teacher is not for everybody. Not everybody is called out to be a teacher, called for to be a teacher. So what are the advice or criteria you would suggest when it comes to being a teacher?
Well, the number one pill is patience.
Okay.
That's the number one pill every in fact, every school, as long as you are in a body of education, I don't know, once you have anything to do with the four walls of school, as a teacher, as a head teacher or a proprietor or a school owner, the first thing you should use in choosing your teachers are patience. I know that it might be difficult. Maybe I want to employ you right now. I might not really know how patient you could be, but I'm sure the few time, maybe I probably gave you an employment. When you come with time, eventually I'm going to know, Then the temperament, it also has to do with patience. How well can I manage my temperament?
So what about
it's very
passion?
Important.
Is passion also needed?
Yeah, passion, that should be like the first. Because if you have passion for something, you are going to do it with the whole of you. So definitely passion is there. But putting all this into cognizance while trying to select is very, very paramount. Yeah. So, and another thing is recommendation. It's very, very important. You know, imagine I want to employ you somewhere and someone say, oh, Abigail, she's really good. You know, definitely I'm going to want to pick you. You know, and after picking you, I'll observe if you actually met those criteria that you were actually recommended for.
All right. So thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Sasha. We've heard from Miss Sasha, who was once a teacher. And yeah, the update on Abayomi's story, the teacher has been apprehended. She's been arrested. Well, right now, I don't know where I stand on this matter, so I'm just going to leave it to you guys. What are your thoughts about it? Do you think the woman was actually arrested for a good cause, or do you think they are overreacting, or do you think she's actually doing it from a place of good? Well, we don't know. Just drop your comments, drop your suggestions, whatever you think, down at the comment section. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.